I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. However, if getting up here today and confronting this problem out in the open can get just one person out there to take a more responsible attitude towards sex, then I feel I would have scored my biggest knockout ever.
That was Tommy Morrison, a name once synonymous with power, promise and charisma. He had the look of a movie star, the punch of a wrecking ball, and the blood of a true fighter. From local fame to world titles, from Hollywood lights to the darkest shadows of addiction. This is the story of Tommy the Duke Morrison, the great white hope who soared fast, hit hard, and fell even harder. Tommy Morrison was born on January 2nd, 1969, in Griffith, Arkansas, but his roots ran deep into the small boxing towns of Oklahoma, where the Morrison name was more than familiar. His father, Tim Morrison, was a fighter, so was his grandfather, and his grandfather before that. Toughness ran in the family like it was passed down in the blood, and Tommy, he was the prodigy. By his early teens, Morrison was already a local celebrity, captain of every sports team, homecoming king. He had charm, athleticism and fists that knew nothing but destruction. At 13 years old, too young for league competition, he forged a fake ID to enter tough man contests. Bouts meant for grown men, and what did he do? He knocked them out. Grown men, twice his age, dropped cold by a teenager. This wasn't just talent, Tommy, it was a growing obsession. From 1985 to 1988, Tommy exploded on the amateur scene. He complied a staggering record, 290 wins, 21 losses, 263 knockouts. Yeah, you heard that again. It's almost impossible to believe. He wasn't just beating opponents, he was demolishing them. Most of his fights were in the Oklahoma and Delaware County circuits, but he wasn't just a local terror. He made it to the 1988 Olympic trials in Korea. There he met a man who would change the trajectory of his career forever, Ray Merciless Mercer. They fought an absolute war in the ring. Tommy lost a narrow decision. Mercer would go on to win Olympic gold. Tommy, he set his sights on turning pro. Now donning the nickname The Duke, a nod to his great uncle John Wayne. The Hollywood cowboy truly lived in the ring through Tommy's fist. Tommy turned pro in 1988, right in the golden era of heavyweight boxing. Mike Tyson was in his prime, Lennox Lewis and Holyfield were emerging forces in the game, and the Rocky films were still electrifying theatres. That is when fate intervened. Tommy landed a feature on ESPN's Tuesday Night Fights. A proving ground for rising stars, his aggressive style and explosive left hook caught the eye of Frank Stallone himself, who then called his brother Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone was casting a new character for Rocky V, a young brash fighter named Tommy Gunn. He saw Morrison fight, and within days the role was his. Tommy Morrison had never acted a day in his life, but his raw authenticity won over critics. Even if Rocky V wasn't the franchise's best, Morrison was a breakout star. In the early 90s, Morrison went on a KO spree. He destroyed Pinklon Thomas, James Quick Tillis, David Jacko and Lorenzo Boyd, all men who previously shared the ring with Mike Tyson himself. He wasn't just beating them, he was beating them faster. people began to whisper, what if he fought Mike Tyson? But the dream matchup never happened. Tyson was upset by Buster Douglas in Tokyo, and the heavyweight chessboard was suddenly flipped. But Tommy pressed on, and in 1991 he got his shot revenge against Ray Mercer, this time as professionals, for the WBO heavyweight title. Morrison came out fast, too fast. He battered Mercer for 2 rounds, landed some pretty decent shots in there, but in the 5th round, everything unravelled. Ray Mercer unleashed a brutal combination. Over 15 unanswered punches, Morrison collapsed against the ropes, his eyes glazed. For the first knockdown in his career, the referee didn't even count. After the Mercer fight, Morrison disappeared for a while. He partied, he drank, he got into trouble. His inner circle changed, surrounded by enablers. Tommy spiraled into a toxic lifestyle of alcohol, cocaine, methamphetamine, and compulsive womanizing. Somehow, Morrison still managed to win fights. The power never quite left him, but his body and his focus was noticeably slipping. In '93, Tommy got one last chance to prove himself. He faced off against George Foreman, who was currently on his insane comeback tour. Everyone expected Foreman's power to end Morrison quickly, but instead, Tommy fought smart. He boxed, he moved, he outpointed the legend. Tommy then became the WBO heavyweight champion of the world.
Winner of this bout will be the WBO World Heavyweight Champion. We go to the scorecards. Dalby Shirley and Patricia Jarman both score the bout 117 to 110. Jerry Roth scores the bout 118 to 109 for the winner and new champion, Tommy the Duke Morrison. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Big George Foreman.
Just when it looked like Morrison was back on top of the world again, his body started to change. The power remained, but the speed was gone. The physique faded, the boyish grin hardened. In 1996, Don King offered him the golden ticket, 3 fights, $10 million, and a showdown with Mike Tyson. But in the days before the first woman fight, the Nevada Athletic Commission refused to clear him. They cited medical reasons. The real story came crashing out in a press conference.
Once we got back here, then we obviously had the test done, and we just found out earlier today that the results of those tests did in fact confirm that I have tested positive for that virus.
And now the mind boggles as to how did I get it, right?
Well, there's a number of things that are mind-boggling to me. I mean, I've never, I don't feel sick. I haven't been sick in 3 years. It's very puzzling. It's very hard also to accept the fact that something like this actually has happened. You know, how I got it, when I got it, you know, who I got it from. I think those are all things that at this point are very unimportant. You know, what happens, what counts is where I go from here.
And you are never going to know, are you?
No, I won't.
Yeah. Could it have been a sparring partner, another boxer?
I think that there's obviously, you know, they will tell you, doctors, professionals will tell you that there is a possibility. They don't think it's highly unlikely. Whether or not, you know, I agree with that really doesn't matter. I think that I'm convinced that I probably contacted this through living a very promiscuous lifestyle for about 2.5 to 3 years. And I believe that that has to be how it happened.
But that lifestyle ended a while ago, didn't it? You've been with a girl for a long time now.
I've presently been with a girl for about 2.5 years. That lifestyle persisted while I lived in Kansas City. I lived there for a number of years, about 6 years altogether. Shortly after beating George Foreman for the WBO title, my priorities somewhere along the line got really screwed up.
Yeah.
I didn't do the right things. I led a very reckless lifestyle. And
But
now,
you have taken this test before in the last 2 years and checked negative, right?
this is true. I have tested negative a couple of years ago. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but this I've been informed it is a virus that has a incubation period of 6 months to 5 years before they can pick it up. So you know, I just don't know.
Do you agree with the decision that nobody should box with it?
Yes, I do. I totally agree with that. I'm glad that I found out that I had it. It's hard telling how long I might have went on boxing, how many lives I could have put in danger because of that. I think testing in this sport, obviously, in my opinion, and once again, I'm not a doctor, but I think this sport obviously is probably the #1 sport for contracting this virus, because it's a contact sport, it's a blood sport in a lot of bouts, and I'm just glad that I found out. And even though my career's over, I hope that in some way, shape, or form I can continue to step up and find a new, better way to educate people. I have to do that because obviously the education that's going on out there now, I wasn't educated. I didn't know. I associated this disease with the ghettos of New York City and people that subject themselves to certain type of lifestyles. Never in a million years did I ever dream that something like this was going to happen to me. And but I walked around for a little too long thinking that I was bulletproof. And I'm here to tell you that I wasn't.
The story came crashing out in a press conference. The Warrior had been dealt the most devastating blow of all, one he couldn't fight off. He was suspended from boxing globally. Later reports suggested Morrison may have known since as early as 1989, but continued fighting anyway. It's alleged he told multiple people, including a counsellor and a former wife, that he tested positive years earlier. Still, no confirmed cases ever emerged of any opponent, partner, or ring affiliate contracting the virus from him. Tommy Morrison faded from the spotlight. At first, he tried to recover. He worked with the likes of Magic Johnson, gave speeches, and advocated for awareness of the HIV virus, but then the denial set in. He stopped taking medication, began insisting he never had HIV, he turned to street drugs, cut off contact with close friends, and isolated himself. By 2010, Morrison was nearly unrecognisable, frail, paranoid, and a shadow of his former self. On September 1st, 2013, Tommy Morrison passed away from organ failure and cardiac arrest. He was just 44 years old at the time.